In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about ISBNs. I'll explain the difference between paid ISBNs and the ones you get for free from Amazon. I'll also show you how to assign your paid ISBNs. So if you're a self-publishing author, then stick around. Hey guys, Craig here. Hope everybody's doing well. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name's Craig Babin, and I'm on a mission to turn my part-time drawing hobby into a full-time income. And I'm hoping to inspire as many of you as possible to do the exact same thing. So if you have a part-time hobby that you want to monetize, then hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be posting some really useful stuff on this channel that you are not going to want to miss. That being said, let's get started. Okay, for those of you who are completely new to self-publishing, I think the first two questions I should answer are what are ISBNs and why are they so important? So let's start there. ISBN is an acronym that stands for International Standard Book Number. In its simplest terms, it's basically a 13-digit product identifier that's used by publishers, booksellers, libraries, internet retailers, and other supply chain participants for the purpose of ordering, listing, sales records, and stock control. The ISBN itself identifies the registrant as well as the specific title, edition, and format of the book that it's on. So why are they so important? Because every major book retailer in the world, whether they're brick and mortar or online, require you to have one. If your book doesn't have a registered ISBN number on it, they won't sell it. Okay, so the next question is, what's the difference between a paid ISBN that you would purchase from an agency like Booker in the US and a free ISBN that you can get from Amazon when you publish your book through KDP? To answer that question, the first thing you need to understand is that whoever owns the ISBN is considered to be the publisher of the book, and the publisher is usually the one who controls the distribution of the book. Now this is where it gets a little confusing for some people. In traditional book publishing, a publisher's role might include things like assisting in the development of the book, editing of the book, the marketing of it, the printing of it, and even the distribution of it to retailers. Your job as the author is simply to write the book and to do your best to promote the book to your network of fans once it's released, and that can be done through social media and events like book signings and interviews. Now when it comes to self-publishing, as the publisher, you the author take on all of those roles. As the author or illustrator, depending on the type of book that you're creating, you're still responsible for writing the book, but you're also responsible for editing it. Now, you don't have to edit the book yourself. You can always hire a professional editor to do it, but that's a cost that you have to incur yourself. You're also responsible for hiring a printer, distributing the book to the retailers, and marketing the book once it's released. It's all on you as the self-publisher. Now, over the past 2 decades, many large-scale book printers have started taking on some of those roles for self-publishing authors. It's what's known as print on demand, and there are a lot of print-on-demand book printers in the market today. Companies like Ingram Spark, Barnes & Noble Press, Lulu Publishing, just to name a few. And these companies will not only print your book, but they'll also distribute it to whichever retailers you want. Many of them even offer services like editing and marketing for an additional price. So what does this all have to do with paid and free ISBNs? As I said earlier, whoever owns the ISBN is considered to be the publisher of the book and therefore determines which retailers the book will be distributed to. Now I want to make something perfectly clear. Regardless of which way you decide to go, paid or free, as the author of the book, you will always own 100% of the copyright of your book. Using a free ISBN doesn't change that. But what it does change is where your book will be sold. So if you use KDP to print your book and you choose to use one of the free ISBN numbers that KDP offers, then as far as the ISBN is concerned, KDP becomes the publisher of your book and therefore determines where your book will be sold. And since KDP is part of Amazon, your book will only be sold on the Amazon Marketplace. It'll be sold all over the world, but only on the Amazon Marketplace. Now KDP does offer something called expanded distribution for qualified books, but your royalties are going to be a little bit lower than they would be if you went through another printer like Ingram Spark. And you have to keep in mind that outside book retailers don't really want to be buying books from their biggest competitor, which is Amazon. They'd much rather purchase books directly from a wholesale book directory like Ingram's, where they can get far better deals. I've used the expanded distribution through KDP for one of my books in the past, and I couldn't find my book in any other online store outside of Amazon. But when I published it through Ingram Spark, I was able to find it in quite a few online bookstores. But that's just my experience, so take that with a grain of salt. Now that doesn't mean that once you choose a free ISBN from KDP that you can never sell your book anywhere except for Amazon. It just means that if you want your book to be sold in, let's say, a brick and mortar Barnes & Noble store, that you'd have to purchase a second ISBN number from an agency like Bowker to be able to do that. The free ISBN that KDP issued you would not work in a Barnes & Noble store or any other retailer outside of Amazon. Now on the flip side, if you were to purchase your own ISBN number from an agency like Bowker, because you, the author, own the ISBN number, you're considered to be the publisher of your book. Therefore, you have control over where your book will be sold. So if you were to use a print-on-demand company like Ingram Spark, they would distribute your book to whichever retailer you want, pretty much anywhere in the world, including Amazon. So you can kind of see the advantages of owning your own ISBN. Now, if all you're going to be selling are low-content books, keep in mind that Amazon is by far the biggest marketplace for that type of content. So if you're not selling anything other than low-content books, I strongly suggest that you just use the free ISBN that's being offered from KDP and save yourself some money. But if you're selling full-content books like novels, children's picture books, coloring books, and so on, then I recommend that you purchase your ISBN because those type of books sell well through any retailer. Now I want to stress one little caveat here. Just because you've purchased your ISBN doesn't necessarily mean that all brick and mortar bookstores around the world will carry your book. Most of the big retailers will make it available in their online stores, but your book has to be selling pretty well before they would order it for their brick and mortar stores. So you're still expanding your distribution using a paid ISBN, but it'll only go into brick and mortar stores if it's selling well. That being said, let's talk about how to purchase an ISBN and how to assign it to a book. Now, I'm not going to go over how to use an Amazon free ISBN because it's pretty much self-explanatory. When you're uploading your book to KDP, you'll be asked if you have an ISBN that you've purchased or if you want to use a free one from Amazon. If you choose the free ISBN, Amazon will assign their ISBN number to your book. There won't be anything else for you to do after that. But when it comes to purchasing an ISBN, there are a few more steps that you need to take. Now, there are ISBN agencies all over the world, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm only going to focus on the US and on an agency called Bowker. Bowker is probably the largest and most reputable ISBN agency in the US. And this is important because there are fake ISBN agencies out there who will take your money and sell you an unassignable ISBN number. So it's extremely important that you use a credible ISBN agency like Bowker. This is Bowker's website. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Now, Bowker sells ISBN numbers in a few different ways. You can purchase them individually for around $125 US, in bundles of 10 for $295 US, which means you're now only paying $29.95 per ISBN as opposed to $125, which is a pretty significant savings. This is a good option for a self-publishing author who's planning on writing a few books in the coming years. If you're someone who wants to start their own publishing company, to publish other authors' books, then the 100 or 1000 ISBN bundles would definitely be a better option for you financially. Buying these bundles would lower your cost per ISBN dramatically. Now, as a self-publishing author, when you purchase your ISBN numbers, they'll be registered in your name, or your company name if you're purchasing them under a company name. So when you assign one of these ISBN numbers to a particular book, you'll be considered to be the publisher of that book because the ISBN number is registered in your name. Now, if you purchase multiple ISBN numbers at one time, you don't have to assign all of them to books right away. Once an ISBN number is registered to you, it's yours for life. It never expires. So you can assign that ISBN to a particular book today, tomorrow, next week, next year, or sometime in the next decade. The ISBN numbers you purchase are yours to use whenever you want. So there are basically 3 steps to putting an ISBN number on a new book. Using Bowker for this example, step 1 is you need to create an account with a reputable ISBN agency. Step 2, you'll need to purchase an ISBN number through that agency, which in the process of doing that will register the ISBN number under your name. And finally, step 3, you'll need to assign the ISBN number to a book at some point in time. And that's really all there is to it. And you can do all 3 of these things right here in your Bowker account. Now, I'm from Canada, and in Canada, ISBN numbers, like our healthcare, are paid for by the government. So we don't have to purchase them. And because I don't want to shell out $125 US just to show you guys how to do this in the US, I'm just going to walk you through the process of assigning an ISBN to a book in Canada instead of the US. The process is going to be pretty much identical because all the ISBN numbers have to have the same information attached to them when assigned. So for my US audience, or for my audience who are located anywhere else in the world where you have to purchase your ISBN numbers, again, step 1 is just to open an account with an ISBN agency, and step 2 is to purchase an ISBN so that it's registered in your name. Those 2 steps are pretty much self-explanatory, and I'll go over the assignment process in just a second. For my fellow Canadians, this is how you acquire a free ISBN number in Canada. So the first thing you want to do is go over to ISBN Canada. I'll put a link to that website in the description below. Once you're there, just like in the US, you need to create an account. On this page, just read the statement and then click on the Yes, I Accept link. Now it's time to create your account. The process here will probably be pretty similar to what you'll have to do to create a Boker account. So just fill in all of the information that they're asking for. Now I just want to stop here for 1 second. I want to bring your attention to this section. If you've never registered an ISBN before, just leave this section blank. But when it asks you how many ISBN numbers you think you'll need in the next 3 years, just guess. But keep in mind, and this goes for everyone, not just Canadians, when you create a book, every format requires a unique ISBN number. So paperback books and hardcover books can't use the same ISBN number. So you'll need to register 2 unique ISBN numbers for those individual formats, even though the content of the books are exactly the same. So for my US viewers, if you're planning on writing 7 books over the next 5 years, and you want to offer them in both paperback and hardcover, you're going to have to purchase 14 unique ISBN numbers to cover all those books. That being said, as the date of this video, most retailers don't require ISBN numbers for ebooks, but that could change in the future, so just keep that in mind. As for the publication information, just pick one format and leave the rest blank. You're going to have to fill in all of this information every time you assign a new ISBN number anyway. This part here is just to open your initial account. When you're done, just hit the Submit button. So ISBN Canada will send you a username and a password by email once your account has been approved. And just know that it can take up to 10 business days to get that email, but in most cases, it doesn't usually take more than a day or 2. So once you have your account, just log in and you'll be brought to your profile page. From here, just click on the Manage Logbook link in the left-hand column. Now once you've assigned a few ISBN numbers to books, this is where they'll all be listed. When it comes to assigning an ISBN number to a new book in the US, you'll have to choose from one of the ISBN numbers that you've already purchased and then go through the assignment process. But because this is Canada, our ISBN numbers are registered to us at the exact same time as we assign them to books. So all you have to do is click on the Assign New ISBN link. So this would be step 3 in the US, and this assignment process is likely to be very similar regardless of which country you're in. So what you want to do here is start by filling in all of the pertinent information. So the first thing you need to answer is what form is your product in? And there are a few options to choose from. This is where you would select hardcover or paperback or whatever format your book was. I'm just going to use paperback for this demonstration. Next, you want to enter in your book's title. Make sure to use the full title. As for the projected publishing date, just give them a rough estimate. Just know that this date isn't set in stone, so if you publish your book at a different date, it's not a big deal. When it comes to the publication status, I always put forthcoming, and then once the book is available for sale, I go back and change the status to active. Now when it comes to the notes section, I strongly suggest that you describe your book in as much detail as possible. Now some of the things that you want to list here are the book's dimensions, the number of pages, and be sure to give them a clear description of the content of your book, as well as what the cover art looks like. If ever a situation should arise where someone is infringing on the copyright of your book and they're claiming that they created it before you did, the date the ISBN was assigned to the book may come into question. And since you don't actually have a photo of your book, a clear description may help to sway things in your favor. So once you've got all of this information filled in, just check the Send ISBN Confirmation by Email box and then hit the Save button. Now as soon as you hit that Save button, you'll be issued an ISBN number almost immediately. So if you go back to your Manage Logbook page, it should be there. And should you ever want to make changes to your ISBN's information, you can just click on the ISBN number that you want to edit and make the desired changes. Now, when you're uploading your book to KDP or whichever printer you're using, and they ask you for your ISBN number, you want to be sure to give them the full number that you see here, just the way it's listed. And that's all there is to it. Like I said earlier, most of these steps should be very similar regardless of which country you're registering your ISBN numbers in. And once your book is live, you can always find your ISBN number on your Amazon product page right here. Well, there you have it. Everything that you as a self-publishing author need to know about ISBNs. If you have any questions about what I've discussed in this video, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I always love hearing from you guys. If you'd like more information on how to self-publish a book, then be sure and check out my video, Learn How to Publish a Book Using Kindle Direct Publishing. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one. And if you're new to my channel and you're not quite sure what it's all about, then be sure and check out my playlist on how to monetize your hobby. You can find a link to it right here. Until next time, take care.